This country wouldn't have been his friend. And Falana is making a mistake. General Abacha served as brigade commander in Ikeja. He has many Yoruba friends, including traditional rulers. He served as GOC in Ibadan. He served as chief of army staff, all in Lagos. He served as chief of defense staff, all in Lagos. In the entire 6 states of the Yoruba land, there is no part of any of these states that don't visit General Abacha. And there were so many intimate issues between him and them. And so for Falana to come to television talking, many of them are just keeping quiet and watching him. Take it from me. But he assumed to belittle the man. The question is, who is paying Falana to be doing this? It's extremely belittling and disheartening for him to come to mimic the nature of the man General Abacha. He doesn't know him. From the way he's talking, General Abacha, if a meeting is going on with such a visitor like Pope, nobody can pop in to just talk. It had never happened. Besides, what they were talking were numerous issues. General Abacha, in a meeting in Aguda House, prior to the visit of late Chief Pope, the late Pope, John Paul, there were agreements with so many. Even before the conditional bail or no conditional bail, the issue came. General Abacha insists, let Abiola can go, so that there will be peace, meaning taking the conditional bail. But in the same video of those visiting him, including Falana himself, who was visiting Late Chief Abiola as a lawyer, he should understand all the things he told Abiola are on video. And this video, for the first time I will tell you this, is in the hands of SSS, NIA, DMI, Presidency, and me, Mustapha. So the issue of lies telling to the country, all these agencies are just looking at him, making a fool of himself. You cannot sit down and assume because the television gives you the latitude to come to talk, and you just come to talk, to deceive the country, to create disaffection, to tell lies that never exist. It's wrong. We should speak the truth. Truth may be bitter sometimes, but we should say it.
Did you see when Abiola was killed? Or when he died?
I tell you of a tape, correct?
Yeah.
I was kept away from being there.
So you weren't there?
They
say you claimed you were in Enugu.
You see, that is what Falana will tell you. Falana, I will now refer you back to what I said before. Late Chief Abiola was killed at Aguda House on the 8th of July. Money was shared, withdrawn from Central Bank on the 9th. The document itself that withdrew the money was dated 9th, and money was brought promptly in dollars and pounds and naira, deliberately. And excuses were given as being the reasons behind the withdrawal directly from Central Bank. And it was delivered in an emergency state to the villa. Mustapha was still handing over the same presidency till 31st of July, and the records are there. I moved to Enugu in August. So all these events happened in my presence. The only thing here is that I was denied access to late Chief Abiola, and the question is why? Even when late Chief Abiola was asking, I should be around to know where they were taking him to. If he had not trusted me, why was he bothered? Zadok is a pastor, he's a born again. And I refer the same Falana to what happened in 2001. If Nigerians have forgotten, let that be. No wonder today they told me in the website within Nigeria, most of these videotapes have been removed. And I hope he's not part of those big men who are removing most of these things that are there to keep this country abreast of what happened yesterday.
You keep saying they framed you, they framed you. Who are these people who are framing you?
First of all, we handed over government to somebody. And soon after I left for Enugu, in fact, on my way to Enugu, I was to be killed. So that meant most of the silent details were not to be. That's another issue entirely. That is much more bigger than what you think. I'm coming to that later. I don't think this forum is enough to take it. I was framed 6 times. The first, on the 1st of October, 1998, I was arrested for staging a coup from Enugu. I left the villa. I handed over power to someone in the villa. I left to Enugu with only staff officers from military intelligence section. I wasn't the GOC. I was not a brigade commander. I was not a battalion commander with troops to fight. I was in the intelligence wing as the second in command for that division, but from the intelligence section of it. Yet I was framed for staging a coup. I was arrested for coup. Now when I was taken, the panel members now began to doubt why I was arrested for coup. Where were the ingredients of the coup? Who was I staging the coup with? Second, I was arrested because that failed. Now they said, no, I was arrested because the late Gaddafi's government was sending artillery and tanks to me, with which to stage a fight, a coup against the government of Islam Abacha. How was that feasible? I was arrested and taken to warehouses in Yobe, where people were keeping granules in the ancient days. They saw nothing. Some officers and soldiers were telling me things. I was taken in chains, badly humiliated. And I was brought back. Now the second, when that failed, they said no, I was in custody of General Abacha's properties. I was tortured badly. Any good house they see around Abuja at that time, they will come and take the picture and say, so street, there is this house. Is it Abacha's own? If I say no, I will be subjected to torture, beating, and burning on my body with nylon bag. Nylon, they will lit it and be dropping the blue flame on me. So I began to accept anything they bring. Is that Abacha's own? Yes, it's his own. Is this your own? Yes, it's my own. I had little respite for that. I was also blamed for being in possession of Abacha's money, that they needed the billions of naira and dollar that Abacha had. If you know my character, and that's why I can stand boldly to look at any person and to tell him whatever is in my mind sincerely, is the fact that there is no single naira I have taken that is someone's own. We handed over Villa to the last dust that was hooved in the room of the president. And I am proud of that. I can say this here before you. I can say it before this country. I can say it before my creator. So nobody can say that we were in government and we took money. Let them challenge me, and that's all I want. And that's why I made a statement to Abdulsalam Abubakar. I made similar statement to President Obasanjo when they came asking me questions. Particularly, even when I was in Kirikiri, I was framed for staging a coup. And I wonder what I wonder their understanding of coup is all about. Because you have tried one way to destroy me and it couldn't work. Now, if you are trying to create another scenario to destroy me, why not create a scenario that is closer to reality? But some of the lies, some of the framing they did, even cartoons can't take it, sincerely, cartoons. Because you cannot keep me in prison and said I was staging a coup. 29th of March, 2004. They said I was staging a coup. Okay, with who? Against who? They said I was to buy a Stinger missile and then fire President Obasanjo's helicopter in Kirikiri. What is a Stinger missile? How many people fire Stinger missile? Where is it sold? How can you acquire it? How is it controlled around the world? How much is it? Who are these remaining 4 people to fire it with me inside Kirikiri? How will I know when Obasanjo is in a helicopter overflying Kirikiri? Airport was so many miles far away from airport. And direction of Ota, where Obasanjo, after he lands with his helicopter to go to, was farther away more to Kirikiri, far away, hundreds of miles away from the same Kirikiri. Okay, at what time did he come to Kirikiri for me to fire? But this was in front pages, and I was arrested for it. Okay, I ask you today, in the arsenal, in our holdings, Stinger missile is it's a soft skin missile, meaning in an environment where the temperature is high like ours who are closer to equator. Such weapons are dangerous for the custodian to keep. If a piece is bought, and a piece is, like they told me lies, because when I went to court I asked them, what is a piece? They say one single piece. No, a piece is 101. That is a piece, and that is how it is sold to countries that wishes to use it, approved by Security Council, UN. It's not moved anyhow. Because once one is missing, the airspace of that country will be declared unsafe to the entire aviation world. These are things they don't know. So they didn't do their homework when they were doing lies. And the same international community were watching. The question is, Who asked you to buy and to keep? And who told you you have? We have dummies for training in Egypt and in South Africa because their weather is partially friendly, meaning cooler than ours. So they have dummies for training. But to say we have it, where is it? Why not even use some of the weapons that have been used in Nigeria to now concoct the lies? But then I was taken to a panel and there were interviews for many days. I was in chains all through. But what Obasanjo and what the person that framed me, whom we handed over to, who was desperate to make sure I was killed, all these generals came to beg me. All. They washed their hands out of it. It's a game that some people are cooking, but count us out of it. But at the surface, they had to defend themselves. Even late Azazi, the last October in his life, he sent an apology to me because we started working when he was a captain and I was a lieutenant, second lieutenant then. In the same office, 1983. Okay. Wait, I haven't finished.
Okay.
Because these are fundamental games they are hiding under to be misleading this country by telling lies. We shouldn't. Around the time General Agwai was appointed Chief of Army Staff, a common friend, General Agwai, my senior, a common friend came to the prison, was allowed to visit me, Kirikiri that time, 2004. He said, General Agwai is now appointed Chief of Army Staff. He said, here, you see, we're in darkness, no paper, no radio. Here, they clamped on us so much. Oh, I said, let me talk to the authority if they can allow. And they did. They gave me plain sheets of paper. I quickly jotted down a letter of congratulatory letter to the then Chief of Army Staff, General Agwai. What was in the letter? Because we had the discussions long ago when he was a lieutenant colonel. And he was talking about subordination of the military to democracy by ensuring professionalism of our services so that the brilliance and the capacity of a typical Nigerian soldier will now be brought to the limelight for the world to see. This was a discussion years past in the 80s. I reminded him that in the letter. And I asked him, I said, time has come for you to subordinate the military, reorientation, training, and realism in training, so that our democracy will be deeply rooted. In a letter I wrote to him, 4-page, and I signed. If I was an enemy of the same Obasanjo, if I was an enemy of democracy, as he said, would I have written that from detention, where I was being suffered and being framed? I did. No sooner General Agwai got this letter, somebody rushed to the government then, and rushed to the letter. These some people persecuting me, and said, Mustapha is busy conniving with the military to stage a coup. And Obasanjo believed it. That's why in the same panel where I was called, the same General Agwai was called to testify. When they saw the letter, then they kept short. Why not give me the credit till tomorrow? That aspect is short, and they don't want anybody to know. That's why the content of the investigation is also hidden. That's why they took me to a court of law, trying me for coup. And even in the coup, no proof of evidence, no what is called, proof of evidence that is supplied for a court matter to try. A matter was sent without proof of evidence, without list of witnesses. And Justice Danabutu, who was second in command, who at that time was almost at the verge of his trial, at one point when he was forced to try us in his own way that even military courts cannot accept, he said, all my life, I have never seen where a judge is muzzled this much, all to ensure the conviction of people out of frustration. But why are all these things not out? Because Mustapha is involved. And because those scared of what they did, the skeletons in their cupboard, the tales of the unexpected of this country, is so much on their side. I can never compromise facts. They can hate me. They can continue to sponsor propaganda. I am the way I was. I won't change.
Okay. You say you were framed.
Yes.
Were you also framed for the murder of Kudirat Abiola?
Absolutely correct. Let Chief Falana will come to the court as alleged in papers. But he won't come. Rather, he will go to radio houses and television. He didn't know what the trial was all about. And thank God Almighty, the entire documents, the entire proceedings are there for the whole world to see. A book is already put together. We are waiting for the last hearing in the Supreme Court, the last appeal, to form the last chapter of 3 volumes already. Documents of the same Lagos High Court, Court of Appeal and Supreme Court for the world to see. Because they went on one hand to induce these boys, gave them money taught them what to say, rehearsed and told them what to say.
Including Sergeant Rogers.
Sergeant Rogers was even the foremost. They bought a house for him in Ilorin. They gave him cars intermittently. They induced him and connived and taught him what to say. And he confessed and said everything in the court of law. Where was Falana? Where they confessed as to, was pointing at the prosecution. Madam, you are the one that was teaching me. You and Oga so. That particular Oga for politics, I don't want to mention. But thank God Almighty, the court of this country has captured that. And I refer you to the rulings of the Court of Appeal. Go and read it. Go and see what they said. If you read it, I refer you to, and I refer the general public to that. If they read the ruling, they will be able to see exactly what is in the matter. The ruling of Justice Dada, who said at the end of the day, her last sentence was before pronouncing conviction of me. Even though in this matter, and I'm quoting, even though in this matter there is no substantial evidence to allow for conviction, I, however, pronounce you guilty. Have you ever heard such a thing? Who was telling her to do that? In that her trial, she sat for 7 hours, 20 minutes, reading a judgment. But in the entire trial, she skipped everything I said. She skipped my testimony in a court. And then she pronounced judgment on me. Have you ever heard such a thing? The general public didn't know what I said, how I said what I said, the exhibits I tendered, some of which I'm referring you to. She didn't. And Falana was there, and they didn't correct her. When there is fanfare, Falana will come to court. When there is nothing, they will run to television house, abusing us. They will sponsor people to abuse us. The hatred of late Chief Abacha was what I carry over. But to me, if that is price of loyalty, let that be. But for me to compromise, and for me to be weak, and for me to be affected because I have displayed loyalty, even for the common purpose that we have our juniors in the military who are toiling and serving this country, we should keep abreast and up on our hill to keep their spirit in fighting for Nigeria. Because they do not know the effect of blackmailing, framing a serving officer. All through the 17 years, I was a serving officer. Till this moment, many people are making a mistake. Up until Supreme Court determines, up until Army Council sits, I'm a serving officer.
Now, many people will be asking, why is Mustapha talking this time? Why did you choose this time to speak?
I have been talking, but they will never announce it. I have been. Maybe you don't know. And I have going around this country on the invitation of our elders. The 36 states of this country I go to free. If I'm guilty, I can go. But there's no way I will not go. Any day, any time, I will drive myself to the place.
Do you have a political ambition?
I don't have. But I'm supporting people whom I believe have the qualities to deliver this country. People who are honest, who are patriotic, who are ready to serve, who will guide our younger ones aright, so that they can come to the fore, so that they will be taken away from the shackles of some people who have attained positions in high status, lofty towers, but telling lies, deceiving this country, stealing their money, and foolishly handing over Nigeria on a wrong direction.
Thank you very much,
Al
Major Hamza
Mustapha.
Mustapha,
Thank you so
for
much.
talking with us.
Thank you, it's a pleasure. Thank you.